Hello Tabbers, my name is Mark. Welcome back. This is my 2015 Tab Max S trailer. This is part 2 of a two-part video describing the installation of a light strip inside that cabinet in order that the cabinet, when you open it, it's dark in there. If it were dark out here, you couldn't see into that cabinet. My wife stores her glasses and books and stuff in there, and at night she can't find them. So we're going to put a light strip right along the back all the way across and some switches in there. So it's a nice cold day outside. Good day to turn the Aldi on in here and do something fun for a change. We'll set some of the repairs away till later. So let's get at it. Okay, in the first video, if you haven't seen it yet, you need to go watch it before we watch this one. But in the first video, we talked about this DC to DC converter. We need to find a place to mount it. I'm going to put it back behind that light. So let's go take a look in there, and I'll show you where I'm going to mount it. Okay, so I've got a lamp in there so you can see what's going on. But this is the back of the cabinet on the left-hand side, passenger side, and you can see the wires for the speaker, and you can see the wires for the light, and that's the wires for the light, the existing reading light out there. That's what I'm going to tie into. So I need to connect the red and black wires. They have to be within reach of those two wires. So I think what we're going to do, I'm going to put this guy, I'll mount him right there. That should be up and out of the way. I've got a good wood support to put it on. I think we're good to go there. So I'm going to go ahead and screw that on, and we'll be back. Okay, I've got the DC to DC converter mounted up there. I typically will mount all of my stuff before I connect it. So I'll mount it, measure all the links, bring it down, make the soldering connections, and then put it back. So I don't have to solder back up in here. It's kind of tough to get at. So I'm just sort of placing the materials around as necessary. So now, the next step is here. Here's the lip. On the back of the lip is where I'm going to put the light strip, the cob strip. So what we need to do, take some alcohol, good rubbing alcohol, and clean the back of that all the way across. Clean the back of it really good. You want to get any oils, any dirt, anything off there. The cleaner you get it, the better the adhesive will stick on the cob light. So let's get at that. Okay, we have that all scrubbed down really well, and you'd think it was real clean, but you can actually see a little bit of the crud that it picked up. So, you know, whatever fingerprints might be up there, or any oils or anything, it's all clean now. Let that dry. I want to talk a little bit about the cob light. As we talked about in the first video, I need to basically peel the back of this off. That's just a double-sided sticky tape, and you peel the back of it off. But this is a little bit longer than the distance that I need. So you can cut these, but you need to be careful about how you do it. Every 2 inches or so, I suppose, there's a copper mark. And what you want to do when you figure out where you want to cut it, you need to cut only on the center of those copper marks, not in front of them, not behind them. You can't cut here, for example. You can't cut here, for example. You have to find the exact center of that copper mark, and that's where you're going to cut. If you cut somewhere else on here, you can actually short out the entire cob light. So that's not a good thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unspool this. I'm going to fish it through there, find out how long I need to have it, and I'll cut the back end of this off. This end comes with a nice connector. I'll cut that connector off too, so I can just solder directly to the output of the DC to DC converter. But I need to find out how long this needs to be. So I'm going to go ahead and fish it up there. I'm going to leave the sticky tape on the back and just fish it up there to find out how long I need to make it. And then I'll go ahead and cut that. Well, okay, I've got this guy sort of laid in here. I got that guy laid in there along the top, just temporarily put up. But look at that. I thought that they were sending me a 6-foot piece, but we are a lot longer than 6 feet. You can see I've gone all the way across the top and I'm back here. So I'm going to use the rest of this for some other project. That's going to be cool. Not bad. So we'll need to cut it. I will need to cut it. I want to cut it a little long to start with, but right on the middle of one of those copper things right there. Probably this one, but I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, got it cut to length. No big deal. Any sharp pair of scissors will work. And you can see you just cut it on the copper strip right there. Now, I've got a few feet. I've probably got about 3 feet of this left, which is great. I'll use it for some other project. But when you do want to connect it, when you want to use this end, you'll see that one of those ends is marked plus 12 volts. All you have to do is connect, take a soldering iron, and gently connect to those 2 connections right there to make leads to come off. But they're marked, so you can do that. So we are now at the place where I'm going to start from the back end here, peeling off the sticky tape and putting it where it needs to go. Okay, we got it laid in over there and here, and the process of laying it into the back of the top of this. But I'm going to leave this unstuck until after I make those solder connections. So I don't have to do that up in the corner like we talked about. Let me show you. Zoom in here and turn around. There is the strip. Turned out pretty nice. So I'm going to go ahead and make those connections. We'll take that DC to DC converter down, make the connections to it, and we're going to run a little test. I still need to run the wires along the top for the switches, but we can at least test the light out like that. Okay, I have finished the connection between the power converter, the DC to DC converter, and the cob light. Take advice of an old engineer. Use a soldering iron, solder them, put some heat shrink on that. Don't use those crimp-on butt connectors. They're going to give you trouble in the future. This is going to be permanent. Use a soldering iron, some good solder, and some heat shrink. Just a tip. Okay, those are the completed connections. Heat shrink, it's the way to go. So I'm going to go ahead and start wiring up. I don't have the switches yet. They should be showing up tomorrow. But I'm going to go ahead and run the wire across for where the 3 switches will be. So I can go ahead and mount this and we can run a test. Okay, here's the wire I'm going to use to wire between the input of the DC to DC converter and the switches as per the schematic that I showed you. Comes a little spool. It's two wires connected together. You can see one black, one red, one ground, and one hot. So we're going to go ahead and run them and get it ready to test. Here are the 2 wires that run the reading light right here. The white one is ground, the blue one is 12 volts. So I'm going to, and here's 2 of those butt connectors that I really hate. So I'm going to take these butt connectors off, and when I connect up my my wires to this, I'm going to solder it and put a heat shrink on here too. So we'll avoid a problem in the future, a potential one anyway. I don't like these things. Anyway, okay, back at it. Hard part's done. We've got all the wiring done up there. I don't have my switches yet, so I'm well, not keep pointing down here. My first switch is going to go here. My second switch is going to go there. I'm just going to daisy chain them together with this cable. But this is the location and the wire, and it just got two bare wires here. The location of my first switch. So, want to see a test in this awesome? Ready? 4, 3, 2, 1. Look at that. Isn't that nice? Look at that. So that anytime you open any one of these cabinets, because I'm going to daisy chain those switches in parallel, anytime you open any one of the cabinets, you'll get light in there. Isn't that nice? And look at that. Since I've got those bars way back behind that lip, it's not, you can't even when you get down underneath here, you can't see those lights. This is all indirect lighting. Man, isn't that nice? You're going to be able to see anything that's in there. Sweet. If we find this is too bright, these cob lights are dimmable. You can get a little dimmer. I think they're going to be fine. I love it. I like it when a project comes out. So we'll wait till tomorrow when I get the switches. We'll put a switch here, one there, and wire them in parallel with this line. We'll just daisy chain them along. Okay, so stay tuned for part 3, where I hook up these switches. I would do it all in one, but 2 problems. 1, the switches are not here yet, and 2, the video is getting too long as it is. So, isn't this, this is just really, really nice. I love that. So, stick with me. Tomorrow I get the switches, and stick with us for video number 3 in this series, and the finale of the overhead back cabinet lighting. See you then.